Welcome to Inspiring Nations with Sonia Keeve podcast show. Question: where do you draw your inspiration? Join us as we feature women across the globe with incredible stories of how they inspire nations every day. Now, here is your host, Sonia Keeve.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Inspiring Nations. I am your host, Sonia Keeve, and I am super excited to bring another amazing guest to my show. And we have the incredible Miss Holly Bird Miller. And let me tell you just a little bit about her. She is the recipient of the Achi Magazine's 2017 Makeup Artist of the Year. She is also a certified makeup instructor with LB Beauty Academy, a personal beauty consultant shopper, pro affiliate with Tint2 Airbrush Makeup, and the visionary key makeup artist for Makeup by Holly Beauty Partners. And I am so excited to have her. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you the amazing Miss Holly Bird Miller. Well, hello, superstar.
Hello, Sonia. How are you? I'm absolutely honored and blessed to be here with you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And I know a little bit about you, but for my listening audience outside of your bio, just share a little bit about who you are and whom you serve.
Sure, I'm happy to do so. So I am a 15-year makeup veteran. So I was really fortunate and blessed to be able to do what I love for roughly about 15 years now.
Wow. That is incredible.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about kind of your journey and how you got started. And we're going to talk about the topic around how to turn your passion into a paycheck. And so I know for many of my listening audience, I know that they are very anxious to hear kind of how to do that, because many of us are really starting this entrepreneurship journey, and we're really learning how to turn our hobbies into a passion. So share with us kind of how, I know you mentioned you're a 15-year veteran in the makeup artistry, but how did you go from turning this passion into a paycheck?
Sure, Sonia. I can tell you that initially, again, it did start from that passion. When I was 14 years old, my mother allowed me to play in makeup. Ooh. Didn't have a clue as to what I was doing, but thankfully she allowed me to play and be as creative as I wanted to be. And so I knew from a very young age that I had a passion for it. But it wasn't until later on as a young adult that I learned about the purpose behind what it is that I'm doing. And so I believe that anything we do, we should have purpose behind it. Yes. And so I've been really blessed to be able to marry the two, that passion and that purpose, and then ultimately turn it into a paycheck. And I can honestly tell you, it was not an overnight success. Mm-hmm. And from a number of the business owners that I surround myself around constantly, they will tell you the same thing. It's not a secret sauce. It's not a secret recipe. And it's not an overnight experience. It does take trial. It does take error, a lot of hard work and fortitude. And ultimately it can be, something that can turn into a paycheck. Yes. And be able to give you the overall lifestyle that you desire.
Absolutely. And so I know there are so many makeup artists out there. What makes you unique? Because again, people can choose from thousands of people, but it has to be someone who truly stands out. So how do you stand out from your competition?
I think what helps me to stand out is that I do have a business degree. So I did go to a university. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration. Okay. So I did learn the education and the fundamentals behind how to be a successful business owner. Yes. So I would say that that's one of the key things that kind of differentiates me from the other competition. In addition to that, I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. Okay. So my father had his own business, and my mother also had another business. And so I was surrounded by people who taught me, even before the education, the business principles and practices of how to run a business successfully. Like you said, there's a lot of people who, who are talented at what they do in makeup and other areas. But I can honestly tell you that part of the driving force and the reason for my success is having that education to kind of back me, because running a business is not an easy job.
No,
and
it's
there's
not.
No, it's not. And there's a lot of competition and as it relates to entrepreneurs and business professionals. And so we always have to do those things that kind of differentiate us from the other. So I always fall back on education and say that's a big part of that.
And I love that you said that, because anything that's worth having, you really want to learn how to master the craft of what you're doing. And so I think the educational piece of learning how to run a business, because that, I feel like, sets the foundation for how you have the success in your business. And so with your clients that come to you, do they come to you just, I just want you to make up my face, or, or is there different levels to the things that you do?
There are different levels to the things that I do. And I didn't mention yet, but I'd also like to mention that I have a corporate background.
Okay.
So working in the corporate world, that also helped to kind of shape and mold me and give me that field experience, that real working experience to understand the unique needs of each and every client. So building on those relationships, sustaining those relationships, I learned a lot of those lessons from working in the corporate world as well. And so I bring that education and that corporate experience into my beauty business. And so those are things that help and can kind of give me that recipe for success.
And then for those that are listening, I hear the term makeup artist versus someone just, kind of, as they say, beat your face. What is the artistry behind a makeup artist? What's the difference?
Sure. So the artistry behind a makeup artist is someone who can literally take each face and look at it as a canvas, almost like a painter would.
Okay.
So with a painter, he or she has a lot of different colors they can choose from. I mean, there are thousands of colors that we can choose from when we're using primary colors, secondary colors, even to tertiary colors. And now there's so many different color combinations. So makeup artists understand those color combinations. And so they're able to take those color combinations, look at each client and assess which colors are going to work best for their client.
Okay.
Not only looking at their skin tone, but also looking at their undertone. So are they warm? Are they yellow? Are they cool? Are they neutral? All of those things can kind of help go into, as they say, beating a face and giving a client a flawless look. In addition to that, understanding face shapes is part of the artistry. Not every face is shaped the same. There's about 7 different face shapes. Okay. So why is that important? That's important because when you apply makeup, you can't apply it in the same area for every single person, nor can you use the very same technique for every single person. Technique is going to change from face shape to eye shape. It's also color selections, again, are going to change from skin tone to undertone. Okay. Clients often come to us and ask us, can you make me look like this supermodel? Can you make me look like this actress? Yes. And I don't promise anything because, I'm not a magician and I'm not God. But I tell them I can help you look like the best version of yourself. And the way in which I can do that is by understanding those face shapes, eye shapes, what colors, again, are going to look best on them, and techniques that we can use in order to help them look like the best version of themselves. So if they have a double chin, yep, we can absolutely contour and make that less visible. Yes. If they have maybe a broader nose, by their definition, we can help to create the illusion that the nose looks a little slimmer. Yeah. We can elevate those cheekbones. We can help with hooded eyes to make them look less hooded. Lots of things we can do. So that's kind of where the differentiation between someone who can quote unquote do makeup versus a makeup artist.
I love it. And thank you for differentiating that for our listening audience. And so as we talk about this whole turning your passion into a paycheck, now I understand that, you had the opportunity to kind of play with it at a very young age. And then because of your parents, you were already introduced to an entrepreneurship mindset. But at what point in your journey did you decide, I want to leave the corporate world and realize, I could actually be profitable at this business as a makeup artist?
Absolutely. So just to clarify, I actually still work in the corporate world.
Okay.
People don't realize that because I keep the two very separate.
Yes.
But what helped me to realize that I could turn my passion, which is makeup artistry and beauty, into a paycheck was being able to, like I said, get the education that I needed in the industry, like immersing myself in the industry by taking continuing education courses.
Okay.
I'm a certified makeup instructor, so I also am certified to teach other men and women who want to be professionals to be makeup artists and to work in the industry. Okay. But I also, I think that education should be ongoing. So continuing to go to New York, travel to DC, continuing to travel throughout Richmond or wherever, and continuing to learn to be able to stay on top of and apprised of industry trends, because trends change from one season to the next, or from one calendar year to the next. So just immersing myself in the education, continuing to just network.
Yes.
Making sure that I am surrounded by people who are in the industry, who can feed into me, who can tell me what I need to know in order to elevate my business and go to the next level. And so I do that. And then I also mentor. So I've established what I call my Makeup by Holly Beauty partners.
Okay.
And so currently we're at 16 hair, makeup, and fashion stylists who work in the industry, who we support and we leverage one another's talents and work together doing corporate events and doing weddings and doing branding sessions for entrepreneurs, you name it. We are here, there, and everywhere. And so I could not have that level of success without surrounding myself with the top professionals in the industry and just supporting one another in that way. So again, it's networking. It's having a mentor, having someone who helps me to continuously lay out my vision and my strategy and my plan. Because no business can be successful without a successful business plan.
Yes.
And that can change because, the industry changes and we may have tried something and it didn't work. And so we have to kind of rebound and figure out a different strategy. But having that plan, the Bible says, make a vision, have a vision and make it plain. So you have to do that in your business as well. Being very strategic, being a visionary, following your business plan. Your business plan should lay out everything for you on, from everything on what is it going to take to make my business successful? How is my business going to grow? How am I going to market my business? What do the finances look like? How am I going to continue to network and make it grow? There's a number of things that need to go into that business plan. What are my strengths, my weaknesses, my opportunities, and my threats? SWOT analysis.
Yes.
Having all of those things in place are some of the keys to success. And I'm so very glad that I learned those things at an earlier age and just continue to develop them along the way.
And I'm so glad you mentioned business plan, because I think especially for our parallelpreneurs who still have that full-time job, but they are really trying to build that side hustle to really make it become the full-time gig for them, should they choose that. But having a business plan, I think, is critical. And I don't think many people realize that, and especially as we're talking about makeup artistry, because I think there is a myth that, people can just, practice and then they can do faces, but it's really, I think, more than just making up someone's face. Would you say?
Oh, it's so much more than that. Of course, you have to have that skill.
Yes.
But again, it takes that passion, being passionate about it, because having your own business, it's not a 9 to 5.
Yes.
I mean, it's a 24/7. Like there are nights where I don't go to bed until 3 a.m. But I mean that, and I don't mind that because
Right.
it's pouring into my business. So if there are people who are listening who are aspiring to have a business, know that you're going to work harder for yourself than you've ever worked for anyone else, but
Yes.
it's going to be so worth it. And so when you're trying to assess if you want to have a business, whether it's makeup or whatever it may be, make sure it's something you're passionate about,
Yes.
because you're going to work really, really hard, but it will absolutely pay off when you put that blood, sweat, and tears into it. And like I said, do the research required even before you start the business. Lay out that business plan, research the industry that you're looking to go into,
Yes.
make sure that you have the financial resources, the financial backing, be able to, just understand what it is you're getting into before you even start it.
Yes.
Because people want to know, once they do business with you, that you know how to do business. You're not just skilled, but you're also educated at whatever level, so that you can give them the best possible customer service that's imaginable.
Yeah.
You always want to exceed the expectations. You always want to over deliver and under promise.
Yes.
And so in order to do all of those things, you're going to have to make sure that you're knowledgeable about the industry that you're going into.
And with this whole idea of passion, because you hear it so often, passion and purpose, but what do you say kind of is a foundation for identifying what you're really passionate about?
Well, I'm a very spiritual person.
Okay.
I realize that not everyone is, but I am. And so because of my beliefs, I believe that God gives us signs, and there's that feeling. It's that feeling that's internal. You can't quite describe it verbally, but you just know that you know that you know. And when you get to that place, it's a really beautiful place to be in. And so, just having that burning and that yearning to do that thing that you were designed to do.
Yeah.
Also for me, it's all about how can I be a blessing to others? And so using your skill and your passion in order to help others. I know that that's the key to my success. That's why I have surrounded myself with beauty partners. Like I said, I market harder for them sometimes than I market for myself, because I know that this is what they want to do, and it brings me great joy and reward in being able to do that for them. So when you have that burning desire, I would say that that's a huge indication that you are following your passion and your purpose. And even when doors start to open that you're not even knocking on, when God is continuously sending you those signs that you can't ignore, and he's just almost like laying out the roadmap for you, and you're like, wow, God, I didn't realize that this is, it would be, I'm not going to say easy,
right,
but just having that, that roadmap and that guide and those things that are kind of laid out for you, that don't cause you such heartache and such stress and such strain. I'm not saying that there won't be days where you will have those things, but you'll have less of those days than you will have of blessed days. So that's kind of how I knew.
That is beautiful. and thank you for sharing. And so your experience and all that you have gone through in building your business, has the journey taken you into different places you've never thought you'd be in?
It has taken me to different places, Sonia. I could not tell you how elated and how blessed I've been throughout my journey. I've been able to meet celebrity makeup artists. I've been able to meet celebrities. I've been able to, sit side by side and engage in in-depth conversations with people who have worked with Oprah Winfrey and people who, I've studied with her makeup artist, Derek Rutledge, whom I adore. He's a beautiful spirit, a beautiful person. And so I've been really blessed to work with him. I've worked with her previous makeup artist, Reggie Wells. We've worked one-on-one together. He was with Oprah for 20 years.
Wow.
And so I've been really blessed to meet people like Sir John, who's worked with Beyonce and Chrissy Teigen and Joan Small and who's who of makeup artists. So being in that same space with individuals like that has been such a blessing for me. Not that I'm like all like super hyped about celebrities.
Right.
I'm one of those people who is like, all right, well, there are people like I am. They've just obviously they've mastered their craft, and I have great respect and appreciation for that. But what excites me more is, again, these are people who are masters at what they do, and they are excelling at the highest level. And so to be able to be in their creative space and to learn from them has been such a blessing for me. And I've been so rewarded from being able to do so. And the list could go on and on and on, but we don't have enough time for all that.
Well, I'm wanted you to share that because, as you stated earlier in our conversation, you made the conscious decision to first get the education because you understood that there were things that you didn't know. And so you needed to learn that. And then you took that in conjunction with your passion. You connected with like-minded people who were doing what you wanted to aspire to do. So when, to mention those gentlemen that were Oprah, that one is currently Oprah Winfrey's makeup artist, and the previous one, that doesn't happen unless you are, getting yourself out there, networking, letting people know that this is what you do. And so for your beauty partners that, like you said, you're probably the biggest cheerleader for them. How do you inspire them to kind of take some of the same similar steps? Because I know sometimes when they're first starting, they're nervous, they don't know, but they want to aspire to be great in the work that they do.
Yes, and so that's a good point. And so going back to what I mentioned before about being a mentor, so I am honored and blessed that some of them consider me to be a mentor. And that is something that I take pride in because I want to make sure that I'm giving them great resources, that I'm modeling the behavior. That's key too, because what I'm doing is more important than what I'm saying to them. And so I'm modeling that behavior on what it takes to have a successful beauty business. And so I can't stress enough the importance of being a mentor, kind of giving them a roadmap, because I don't want them to make some of the mistakes I made when I was trying to kind of figure it out on my own. And so I'm trying to give them a roadmap that they can follow, whether loosely or however they choose to follow it, so that they can be successful, because I believe that there's enough work for all of us in this industry, and I don't believe in competition. I believe in community over competition. So how do we help one another? How do we leverage one another? What are the tools and the resources that I can provide you with? And how can I help you be successful? And so I think that works both ways. So I'm a mentor. In addition to that, I have mentors. So people that I also I'm blessed enough that they pour into me. And so I think that's also important, that we're not only looking up, but we're also looking down. How can we be a blessing, but who can also be a blessing to us to help us to grow and do the things that we aspire to do?
Absolutely. And there was a hashtag moment there, community over competition. And I want to just stress that, because there are so many people that say, oh, the market is so saturated, nobody will want to buy from me. But it has been my experience that people buy from those that they like, know, and trust.
Absolutely. It's all about the relationships.
Yes.
So what is your public perception? Do people genuinely enjoy working with you? What is the community saying about you? I think it's important for us, for business owners, to Google ourselves periodically. What's the public perception? What's out there on Google about us? Also, reach back out to your previous clients. Try to get testimonials and feedback from them. You don't want to assume that you're providing a quality product or service. You want to know that you're doing that. And that should also help you to identify opportunities for improvement, or OFIs. What are the areas that you can improve based on the feedback and the input that you've gotten? And so that information is also very, very valuable for continuing to grow and to sustain a business.
Awesome. And I hope you all were listening and taking notes, because I know that I am. And so if people want to just, follow you and figure out, how do they get in touch with you? How would they get in contact with you?
So they can access our website, which is makeupbyhollyb.com. They can also find us all over social media. So we're under Makeup by Holly. Also, we're under Makeup by Holly Beauty Partners. So you can find us those ways as well. You can see us in the community. So if you're in the DMV and we're all over Virginia, people are like, how are you guys everywhere? I'm like, because we're everywhere. You have to be these days. You want to establish yourself in whatever business you're in as a subject matter expert, as someone who's at the top of your game. And so that's going to require you to be everywhere, to be as public as possible, and to continue to absorb as much information you can from being out and about, but also for people to see you, to know that you're real, to know that you're accessible, to know that you are genuinely invested in the community. I love RVA. I'm here in Richmond, but I travel throughout the country. I'm really, really blessed to travel throughout the country. And I never met a stranger. Never met a stranger. So when I see people out and about, what you see is what you get. I genuinely love interacting with other people. And I think it's that relationship piece that has also helped to drive the success of the business as well. And so I can't stress that enough for business owners as well.
Absolutely. And one thing that came to mind as I think about you and makeup artistry and the industry, what are your thoughts on how women feel from a self-esteem perspective of having their face done for the first time? Because I will say, the reason why that I know Miss Holly Bird Miller was because I had the opportunity to have my face nicely glammed up for a gala for the Achi Women Supporting Women Association earlier this year. And one of your beauty partners did an amazing job. And I knew that she would. I wasn't so much worried about that. But what happened is I took a picture of the work on Facebook. And the comments from people were, not only was it flawless, but it was natural. Like it just almost enhanced something that I didn't even realize. So I know for women that go through that experience for the first time, it's something I think almost spiritual that happens and transformational. Would you agree?
That is a key word. It is transformational. And so oftentimes when our clients meet with us, they've already done their due diligence, so they know we're skilled, but they're still very nervous. And they almost always say, I want to look like myself.
Yes.
And my response oftentimes is, well, I want you to look like yourself too. Yes. But I want you to look like the best version of yourself. Not that makeup helps women to look better, but what makeup helps them to do is just to be a little more confident when they look in the mirror.
Yes.
Because oftentimes I think we're all guilty of it, is we have some insecurities about, we feel that we're slightly flawed in some way. Maybe we think our nose is too big, or my forehead is kind of big. But I just think that God didn't make any mistakes. He made us all beautiful and unique in our own ways. But if someone says to me, I don't like my nose, then I'll say to them, well, we can contour that. Yeah. Supermodels don't wake up. Well, they do wake up beautiful in most cases, but before they go on a photo shoot or a runway, they don't go out without makeup. They are highlighted and they are contoured, and their beauty is emphasized so that they look like the best version of themselves. Yes. Whatever that means. So if the client wants to look more natural, if they want to look glamorous, or anywhere in between, we can get them there to the extent that they're comfortable. But I think how we differentiate ourselves from others is that we are more concerned and more committed to the experience of helping women to feel beautiful. Yes, we'll make you look beautiful in your best and give you flawless makeup, but we want you to feel beautiful so that when you look in the mirror, you feel good. And when you feel good, it's my motto that when you look good, I think you feel good. And when you feel good, you do good. Yes. And so that's our motto. And so with every single client we meet, from teens to elderly adults, we want that experience to be a good experience, and we want them to feel just as beautiful as they look.
And I have to tell you, I absolutely felt like the queen of the night after my face was done. And because because you normally don't see yourself in that light. I mean, unless, like say, you're a makeup artist yourself, you know how to have that look all the time. But for many of us that just attend the gala, that's the first time we actually get glammed up. And I mean, you don't even recognize yourself. I mean, you look like yourself, but it's like you said, it's the best version of yourself. And you start to say, wow, that's under that makeup.
Absolutely. And so I tell everyone, you too can look like a supermodel when you have the right team, the right beauty team who's going to apply the makeup perfectly and who's going to do your hair, and then you're going to be photographed in a certain way. So with that right team, you too can look like a supermodel. So that's why I tell women, don't sell yourself short. You can also look as beautiful as they do with the right team on your side.
Absolutely. Well, Holly Burden Miller, it was truly an honor to have you on my show. But before I let you go, I always love to ask my guests, I'm going to give you 3 words, and I want you to tell me what comes to mind when you hear them. The first word is faith.
Faith is the substance of things that are seen and they're not heard. So it's like walking by faith, knowing that, God has your back. God has everything by design already laid out for you, and just knowing that in the end, it's all going to work out in your favor.
Love.
Love is that thing that it kind of makes the universe work. It makes the world work. It's that thing we all want, we all crave, we all need. Love is the thing, I think, that kind of keeps us all united and moving forward and persevering.
Inspiration.
Inspiration is that thing that just keeps you going when you don't feel like going. You have to just inspire yourself. Inspire others. It's that thing that just kind of keeps you going.
Well, Miss Holly Burden Miller, it was indeed our pleasure to have you on the show today.
It was a pleasure for me to be on the show too, Sonia. Thank you so much for allowing me to talk about my passion, how I've been able to turn it into a paycheck. And so I'm very fortunate and blessed to have been on the show. So I hope I've said something that has inspired others. And if you ever need a great makeup artist or a team, please feel free to give Makeup by Holly and Makeup by Holly Beauty Partners a call. We will ensure that you look like the best version of yourself and enjoy the experience along the way.
Amen. Amen. And this is another edition of Inspiring Nations. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Inspiring Nations with Sonia Keeve. I challenge each of you to perform one simple act of kindness and pass it forward. For more information on how you can be a guest on our show, visit www.soniakeeve.com. We hope to see you next time.